everyone, welcome to my channel Crochet for Baby. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this cute little puppy applique. It's the same one that I showed you when I uploaded this little pullover sweater. I'll leave the link to this tutorial down here in the information box. It's very easy to make, so I hope you like it, and without further say, let's get started, and thank you for watching. Okay, to make this cute little puppy, what we're going to do first is we're going to make a circle like this. I'm going to use white, then I used gray for the ears and for the snout here. We're going to also need a little bit in black, and I used blue to make my little bow tie. You can use any color. So to begin, the first thing is we're going to make a magic circle. I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook to do this, and this is a light number 3 baby yarn as well as the rest. Okay, so here we're going to make a magic circle, so hold on to this end, wrap it around your fingers, hold it where it joins here, then insert your hook through the circle, grab a loop and chain 1. Now inside this circle here, we're going to make 12 double crochets now. There's 1, and then 2, 3, and so on. Continue like this until you have a total of 12 double crochets inside the circle. I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I made 12 double crochets. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this end here so that the circle closes. And now we're going to join to the first double crochet right here. See, right there. Join with a slip stitch like this, and this is how we finish the first row. Now for the second row, we're going to chain 1, and into this same stitch where we did the slip stitch, go back in and make 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Now go to the top of the next double crochet and do the same thing, 2 single crochets. In this second row, this is all we're going to do. We're going to make 2 single crochets on each one of the double crochets all around. Continue like this, and I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this second row, and I have a total of 24 single crochets. Now to finish, we're going to go to the top of the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. And this is how we finish this second row. Now for the third row, we're going to chain 1. In this row, we're going to make 1 single crochet, then into the next 2. Then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let me show you. The first single crochet will go into the same stitch we do the slip stitch, so make your first single crochet there. Then into the next, make 2 single crochets. Into the next, make 1 single crochet. Into the next, make 2 single crochets, and so on. Continue like this, alternating between 2 and 1, 2 and 1 single crochets all around. I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this third row. I have a total of 36 single crochets. Now to finish, we're going to go to the top of the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. And this is how we finish the third row. Now for the fourth row, we're going to chain 1. In this row, all we're going to do are single crochets on each one of the single crochets. Beginning here where we did the slip stitch, you're going to make your first single crochet. Then jump to the next and make a single crochet into the next, and so on. Continue like this, just making single crochets on each one of the single crochets from the previous row, and I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this fourth row. I have a total of 36 single crochets. Now to finish, we're going to go to the top of the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. And this is how we finished the fourth row. Now for the fifth row, we're going to repeat the same thing we did on the third row. In the third row, we did single crochet, then 2 single crochets. Single crochet, then 2 single crochets. So let me show you. The first single crochet is going to go here where we did the slip stitch, but first we're going to chain 1. Now we can make our first single crochet into the same stitch here, then into the next 2 single crochets. Into the next 1 single crochet, into the next 2 single crochets. This is all we're going to do all around, so continue like this, alternating between 2 single crochets, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all around. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I'm here at the end of this 5th row and I have a total of 54 single crochets. Now to finish this row, we're going to go to the top of the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. And this is how we finish the 5th row. Now for rows 6 and 7, all we're going to do are single crochets into each one of the single crochets. So for row 6 here, you're going to chain 1. Same thing for row 7, you're going to chain 1, and then into the same stitch here, you're going to make your first single crochet like this, then a single crochet into the next, and so on. Just 1 single crochet on each one of the single crochets from the previous row. At the end of row 6, you're going to have a total of 54 single crochets. When you're done, you're going to join here to the beginning with a slip stitch, chain 1, and make your first single crochet just like I did here for your 7th row. And then continue around and make single crochets. These are the last 2 rows that we're going to do, so continue like this and I'll meet you at the end of the 7th row to show you what we need to do next. Okay, finished making the 7th row. I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and then passed my yarn through that last loop. And this part here is done. Now, if we measure right across, it's about 10 centimeters, which is almost 4 inches. Now, this part here is done. All you have to do is just hide your ends. Now we're going to make the ears. So to do that, I'm going to do mine with this gray color. And here I have 12 chains. Now into the second chain from the hook, 1, 2, I'm going to make a single crochet. 1, 2, I'm going to make single crochets all across until I come to the last chain. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and into this last chain you're going to make 6 single crochets into that same chain. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to make single crochets along this side. So beginning into this first stitch, make your first single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. Now chain 1, turn, and we're going to go back here and work these single crochets. So into the first single crochet, make your first. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 single crochets, and into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, we're going to work 2 single crochets into each one of them. So beginning here, 1 and 2, into the next 1 and 2, that's 4, into the next 1 and 2, that's 6, into the next 1 and 2, that's 8, and into the next 1 and 2. Now we're going to continue and work these single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single crochets. And here's the little ear. Now here it's going to open a little bit, so just pull on this and it should close. Okay, so this ear is done. Now you're going to make one more. Oh, here before we finish, just cut your yarn here. Pass your yarn through this last loop. Cut your yarn. And this part here is done. So make the other ear and I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished making the 2 ears, so now what we're going to do is the little snout. So to do that, I have 5 chains here and I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. So now here into the 3rd chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to make a double crochet. Double crochet into the next chain. And into the last chain here, I'm going to make 6 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochets. Now into the next stitch right here, I'm going to make 1 double crochet. And into this next double crochet right here, I'm going to make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. Now to finish, we're going to go to the top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how we finish the first row. Now we're going to make one more row, so chain 1, and into this first stitch we did the slip stitch, make your first single crochet. Single crochet into the next, that's 2, single crochet into the next, 3, single crochet into the next, that's 4 single crochets. And now into these next 4 double crochets, we're going to make 2 single crochets on each. So into this next one, make 2 single crochets, into the next one, 2 single crochets, that's 4 single crochets, into the next 2 single crochets, that's 6, and into the next 2 single crochets, that's 8 single crochets. Now I'm going to make single crochet into the next double crochet, single crochet into the next double crochet, and into these last 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to make 2 single crochets on each one of them. So there's 2, into the next, 1 and 2, that's 4 single crochets, into the next, 1, 2, and into the last one, 1 and 2. So that's 8 single crochets for this part here. Now to finish, we're going to go to the top of the first single crochet and make a slip stitch. Now I'm going to cut my yarn, pass my yarn through this last loop here, and this part here is done. Now this is the right side. For mine, I used the wrong side, so I'm going to hide my ends on the right side. So I'll do that and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, now what we're going to do here to this snout is we're going to make the little nose and then the little mouth. So here I have some black yarn and I'm going to split it. This is 4 ply, so I'm going to just use 2 strands. So I'm going to, and I just cut a small piece of yarn here. And now I'm going to pass it through my needle like this. And we're going to look for the center right here. We have these 2 double crochets, so insert your needle through one side here, hold the end back there, and then go across. Now there's no right or wrong way to do this. You're just going to have to eyeball it somehow. This is how I did it. Now here I'm going to form a little triangle. And then I'm going to go back to this end here and come down right there. Now this is the center. That's where I inserted my needle. Now I'm just going to go in and out with my needle, trying to fill this in. So through the center, try not to pull too hard, because then it's not going to look right. So right there, and then go back again. That almost looks okay. So I'm going to do one more stitch right here. The important thing here is that you fill these gaps here. That worked. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to go into the center right here, and then go down like this, and then go over right around there, and this is going to be the mouth. And then go back in the center, and then go on this side here, and then go back in through the center. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just going to hide my ends here, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is the little bow. So I'm going to use this 3.5mm crochet hook, and I'm using this light blue light number 3 yarn. So here we're going to chain 3. We're going to join to the first chain with a slip stitch, chain 2, and inside this circle here I'm going to make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm going to chain 1, turn on top of the first double crochet, make 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet on each one of the next double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, and then on top of the last chain here, make 1 more single crochet. So that's 6. Okay, now cut your yarn. Pass your yarn through this last loop here, and this part here is done. Now we're going to turn this over like this and insert your hook here inside the circle. Make a loop, but leave a piece of yarn like this, a small tail. Make a loop, grab this loop, bring it through the front like this, and chain 2. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did here. So that's 1, 2, and into this ring here make 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, turn. On top of the first double crochet, make a single crochet, and on each one of the double crochets. That's 3, 4, 5, and then one more here at the end. Okay, cut your yarn. Pass this yarn through this last loop. This part here is now done. Now hide your ends along this side here, or the other side. This is actually the right side. So here what we're going to do is this end that we left here, we're going to wrap it around like this. Like this, 5 or 6 times around, and then we're going to make a knot here. Like this. And here's the little bow tie. Okay, so now I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how we're going to put everything together to make our puppy now. Okay, now that we have all of our pieces, what we're going to do is attach them to our circle. So here I already did this first one, so I'm going to show you on this side how I did this first one here. So between each ear we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets. So here I'm going to insert my needle through the back like this. I have white yarn here so that it doesn't show. Hold this here, and then we're going to sew this here. In and out. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You're just going to eyeball it here. Like this. And I'm just going along the very edge here. Let's see, here's the back, and one more. Okay, now with this one here, I attached it here to the side, so all I did here was I just brought it down like this. I'm not going to do it to this one, but you're just going to insert your needle right here and then grab the very edge here also. And we're only going to do one stitch because it's going to show through the gray color here, and then go through the stitch and into the next. Like this, see? That's how I did this one here. So now you're just going to go back and just hide your ends, and then cut your yarn, and this part here is done. Okay, I finished attaching both ears, and I also went ahead and added my eyes. These here are snap buttons that I used. You can use just regular buttons. You can just sew them in and use that instead if you don't have snap buttons. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to attach our snout. So to do that, I have some yarn here that I had left over. It's not much. I'm going to put this under like this so that this part here sticks out a little, just like the original one here, see, like that. So that's what I put on mine, and we're going to sew this all around. Now this part here is not in the very center, it's slightly down like this. Okay, and now we're going to sew. So just go through one of the stitches, go through the next, and the next. We're going to go in and out through each one of these single crochets all around like this. Okay, this is all I'm going to do all around, so continue like this. Now when you come here, before you close it, if you feel like you need to add more yarn to make this stick out a little bit more, you can do that. We'll see how this works out with that much yarn there. So continue, and I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished attaching the snout here, so now we're going to attach this little bow tie. So to do that, I'm just going to do one stitch here and then one stitch here on the corners. So this first one will go here, like this. Now I'm going to tie this together like this. And then I'm going to go to this other side right there and do the same thing. Right there. And now I'm just going to also tie this here in the back, cut my yarn, hide my ends, and actually you don't need to hide your ends because this here is not going to show. And there it is, our puppy is done. That's what it looks like. Now to attach it to your sweater or anything else you want to attach it to, you're just going to do the exact same thing we did here around the snout. With white yarn here, you're going to sew all around like this. I'm not ready to attach it to my little pullover sweater. That's why I'm not going to show you, but it's very easy. You're just going to do the exact same thing we did here all around this part. Now, one thing, I think the eyes could have come down a little, but I'm just going to leave it like that. This one here, that's what I did. It's the little eyes are a bit lower, and that's why it looks like that. Okay, so this has been today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.